It's our great pleasure to have Vera, Miss Vera Mulyani, to talk to us about this her really exciting design and projects. She's the CEO, founder, and the lead Mars architect, Mars City Design. is He's a critically acclaimed visionary architect and urban designer. For the past 20 years, her practice of architecture and science has been evolving to reach the interplanetary scale, pioneering the Mars architecture. So it's a new terminology called the Mars architecture movement, building the prototypes of sustainable city on Mars while creating a STEM plus R STEAM educational inferential platform, the Mars City Foundation. Her Mars City simulation is currently building in the California desert, uniting the most advanced technology in alternative energy, infrastructure, mobility, sustainable life support system, cross-pollinating with entertainment and arts. Vera's journey was published on the UK Discovery Channel. You can see the link here. With 90 million viewers in total. That's just amazing. So Vera's multidisciplinary background in master planning in various fields of art, architecture, urban design, filmmaking, and storytelling has made her socialize in conceptual strategy in technology innovation and business development. She contributes her expertise in applying, combining these fields and creating a collaborative competition platform, Mars City Design, for designing sustainable cities for Mars, our next step to settle the red planet. She also professor of systems engineering, MS, Occupy Mars at Loyola Marymount University, LMU. She is a public speaker for many influential platforms and media in science, art, and space, including but not limited to MIT, USC, TEDx, long list, as you can see, of course, AIAA and the Mayor's Institute on City Design, MICD. And she's been to many places, including Alaska, Anchorage, museum, design museum, different famous places. So it's our great pleasure and honor to welcome Miss Vera Mulyani.
Thank you so much, Ken.
Great pleasure.
Thank you so much, AIAA. It's my honor to be here. I understand that today is Saturday and none of us, most of us are using this day, this weekend to rest so that during the week we can keep going. So I'm not here to give you a lecture about art, and definitely not here to give any more learning lessons, more about, I guess, the fireside talk, how art influences space and also vice versa, and how important it is to include art in all the effort that we're doing in advancing technology and innovations, and taking consideration of the humanity aspects of it. Because really, why would we go to Mars if it's to disconnect with our humanity? So it's so important to reflect back to who we are and why are we here. So with this, I would like to share with you the slides that I have. All right. So I'm just going to keep it this way. I hope you don't mind. It's not going to be like the special show lecture. So we will talk about art in space, but the reason why I crossed the word in is that for the past 5 years, I've been working on Mars City Design, trying to include what we do in the space industry, and somehow it has all the challenges because I think there is still disconnect between the world of creativity and engineering, unfortunately. And I've been investigating and learning more and more about it. So our job is to really bridge the two worlds so that we can make space way more reachable to lay people. So, all right, let's do this. You've seen this. We'll talk about, how we get through all these years and why it's important to keep going back to what inspires us for our design. And that includes understanding the world of engineering. What is the priority of this, role in society? Without engineers, I think we will not be able to depict all the truth and uh, safety and all the predictability that we feel safe when we keep going to the new adventure in our journey as human beings, as society. So it's so important to, of course, prioritize engineering, especially for space, which is most of us, it's complete unknown. And so that's why it's such an extraordinary world that, most of the people dream when we're a kid, to reach space, to be an astronaut, to go to Mars, to live in a different planet. But the minute we get to the math and the physics, we often just, kind of give up. And and it's kind of really interesting because the journey of art is almost the same, believe it or not. There are different challenges, and I'll talk more about that, of course, and how it will then influence space and vice versa, and sustainability today. Why during the pandemic we care about art, and why for something when we're in war or crisis in humanity, why are we still talking about art? So I would like to show you what Mars City Design has been doing that was exhibited at the NASA Johnson Space Center in Houston, Texas last year, right before the pandemic. So let me, okay, this is where I have to, okay. So if you can see this, you can also Google this basically. Okay, so we collected a lot of different artworks, but also designs, engineerings, and virtual reality that touches all of it together touches the 8 senses that humans have. So we always talk about 5 senses. Now, after learning about space and what humans need when we are far from planet home, we understand that the senses like smell that will trigger memory, and this was a different sense. It's called the Earth memories, and each bucket here exhibited the smell of different environment, like the rainforest, and we have also the desert, we have the beach, and we also have actually astronaut spacesuit. And all of these actually connected our sensory of smell to the memory when it reminded us where we were when we smell this. So everybody, of course, have different memories. So that's just an example of one of the artist's works. This is really interesting. So this is a Swiss artist that actually have his 3D model of different kinds of astronauts, and it was actually adopted by the Omega Watch. They somehow 3D printed the model, and it made like the giant astronaut, golden astronaut everywhere to commemorate 50th anniversary of Apollo landing. And it was really interesting because the artist himself discovered that through friends who like said, hey, this Omega Watch actually have astronaut, giant astronauts that are displayed all over the world. It looks exactly like your 3D model online. And so he managed to, it was basically not, it was stolen from his collection. So he was able to raise the case, and that was what happened last year. He did this as well. It's a mix of comedy and graphics. And then, yeah, a lot of 3D printing involved with architecture. This is Neurosynthesis by Karen Gandhi. A lot of these, this is, for example, demonstration of foam 3D printing. And it was to illustrate the topography of Jezero crater, where the rover is going to land next year in February. So yeah, we have a lot of interest from the NASA exhibition. And after that, all the exhibitions were moved to the Design Museum. Okay, so coming back to the slides. So this year we have the ceremony of the winning designs for urban farming. So every year Mars City Design creates the annual challenges that treats questions about, you know, different needs that human basics needs are going to be needed when we live away from the home planet, because even if we go to Mars, we're still humans. So there should be a way more than just isolation experiment that we all know by now, because of the pandemic, we're all trained to live enclosed and social distance. But why then we have to go to Mars if we keep, you know, living like in prison? So there are all these research that we can experiment. So every year, like last year we had transportation, the year before it was urban design and architecture and sport and different like cooking as well. So what kind of spices we can use to enhance our sense of taste. Okay, so I'll show you 6 minutes of a video. I hope you can bear with me. There it is. Okay. Hi, my name is Vera Mulyani. I'm the founder and CEO of Mars City Design. I'm also the professor for Loyola Marymount Systems Engineering class called Occupy Mars. We are here today at the Los Angeles Griffith Observatory to congratulate the winning teams of Mars City Urban Farming Challenges 2020. They have delivered fantastic projects. You can take a look at them now. The third winner for Mars Architecture category, Mars Shambhala by Shangzhen Cheng, Yuting Li, and Chia Anye from Tonghai University in Taiwan. The second winner for Mars Architecture category, the Molecule Research Lab by Jaslyn Gujral from India and Los Angeles. The first winner for Mars Architecture category, Sprout by Giuseppe Calabrese from Australia and Italy.
The arms will be capped with 3D printed Nubian vaults with glazing, permitting natural light penetration. The plant's main source of light will be from LEDs alimented from solar collectors. The greenhouse cylinders will provide bio-waste to the green powerhouse.
The third winner for Mars Agriculture Engineering category is Martian Hive by Alexander von Beeler and Aleken Goffman from Bodecker Partners Landscape Architects in Germany.
What can we do to also improve life on planet Earth? The ways we construct, the ways we sort of respect our natural environment. So if we can get these principles right on planet Earth and we can create a system for this, then I'm sure we're going to be capable enough to grow a better future on other planets.
The second winner for Mars Agriculture Engineering category, the Mars Colony 1 by Yulia Akisheva, Durdevich Alexa, Nenadich Nenet, Benjamin Potier, an international team.
Greenhouse middle section. You've already seen the algae bioreactors. You can see that this could be a space for work, maybe even to relax with a book, because it's also better protected from radiation due to the extra hydrogen-rich materials around one. An innovative crop selection and the first tower on Mars, so it's a very exciting project for us.
The first winner for the Mars Agriculture Engineering category, Justin's Food Production Systems by Justin Perkeve from Seattle.
A total of 1,450 meters squared just to feed 9 people. At a high level, we've attempted to lay out a solid engineering foundation for the entire Mars settlement program, with all the future work identified as necessary for a larger team to turn this into reality.
The network of ribs in a lily pad represents the closed-loop system of the farm structure.
The first winner for the design category, the Mars Spine by Mohammed Ahmad from Egypt.
Generation out of solar panels, arrays and water extraction. The farm external pad is provided with a solar panel system to generate energy out of the sunlight. The Voronoi structure of the farm envelope is provided with Himawari system of a fiber optic system that uses tracking fresnel lens.
The second winner for the design category, Protists by Mohammad Montazeri and Elham Mirzapour from the Arena Design Studio, Iran. The winner of the most favorite project of Mars City Design Challenges 2020 and the third winner of the design category, Barkan City by Khaled Al-Laban from Dubai.
That act as the main circulation method across the city. Park and City's unique concept to house humans and plants to create an independent plant-centric community makes it a sustainable and efficient design that could become the first city on Mars.
I'm just really proud of our multidisciplinary teams that are coming from around the world to unite and to give some solutions of what it is food growing in another planet that can actually solve the sustainability issues that we have here today for our climate change on Earth. So congratulations, teams. We really enjoy every creativity that you contribute this year towards the competition. I would like to sincerely thank our guest speakers who are here today to support all of us and to inspire each of us to go to the next level in terms of designing civilizations for Mars. Thank you. All right, one moment. I have to find a... So that was all the...
Good evening and welcome to this wonderful festival. You may not notice it because you're in New York, but plants actually dominate the Earth's environment. They make up about 80% of Earth's biomass, and by comparison, all animals, including us, amount to less than 0.5%, or as one plant biologist puts it, just traces.
Okay, still learning how to use this. Okay, so let's get back to the slides.
Oh, Vera, I think there's a question in Q&A box. Can you see it?
Sure.
Or you can wait, we can wait till the end. I'm just reminding you.
Yeah, thank you. So I'll go quickly on the reference. Yeah, so anyway, that was the last. You guys are one of the premier, one of the people that have been watching this premiere. Very few actually have this access. So if you would like to watch more of each project, they have each video for each project. So you could check the Mars City Design website, marscitydesign.com. You can see the Gala 2020. There is an access on the Eventbrite, and then you can take a look. So yeah, talking about art, back to art. So it's interesting that one of my mentors talked about how art and sport are the only two disciplines that I have to say may be the only two disciplines that actually put us to be in the moment. And that's the focus training that is so important, and subconsciously we are able to master the way we respond to challenges by being in that moment and somehow connect our spirit with the environment and the inspiration that we have and create something that is valuable. So that is the definition of art in this context. And it's definitely not the ones that are misused in terms of names, So for me personally, art teaches me about space, and I'll show you all these examples. Art also somehow can heal, during crisis, during this pandemic, during the past war, a lot of artists' works suddenly inspire a lot of people. This is the only way we can stay sane. Like you listen to music, and we, when there is panic, somehow we can come back to our senses and insert pause and remember things. Sometimes there are smell, scent that will calm us and make us understand this is the situation, this is the challenges. In microscopic second, you're able to respond in a very calm way, and that's actually what the pilot training usually come in. So it's interesting because when I have a conversation with different engineers, when they're really into the safety, I mean, we need both, right? But the problem is sometimes art could also be a distraction. So it really depends on the dose response. So if you're working on something in a safety matter, for example, and we disregard anything that can be related to entertainment, when we call it art, then I think the goal here is not to eliminate art and beauty, but to really include everything that inspire us and inspire the innovation itself, not to separate it. So basically, art can challenge the better innovation when we include it. And most of you know this, all these references, of course, right? When I show you this image, you have the music in your mind. And then most of us who are not into math and science, we often learn about space from all this culture, and these are movies, this is Expanse, and it actually makes people question about how it is to reproduce in zero gravity. Like, if people live in space, are we going to extinct if we're not able to create the next generations? And of course, the Space Odyssey from Stanley Kubrick. But other than that, there are type of art that are not very much, very isolated in itself. They have their own discipline, their own, I guess, competitions and their own world, but completely disconnected from reality. And for me, this is, for example, an example that can be inspired from Space Odyssey. Another type of art that is inspired by space, but then, there this connection with the human side. Like, we can suddenly envision Valentine's Day making a bouquet in space when we're far away from home, by astronaut Scott Kelly. And what about in energy? What kind of art is really the innovation that was long unrecognized, I guess, and because of the greed and economy, somehow some of these inventions are repressed, and they still inspire us. And what can we do with it? Of course, Nikola Tesla. But this is just not a coincidence, I guess, but a coincidence somehow. I put it right after the static hair. That can also be a question for female astronauts to be in space. Like, what kind of hair maintenance to be able to keep us clean and practical and pretty. So in technology, of course, this was one of the most inspiring time when we watch what really happened. But understanding also, there are thousands of people working on this genius moment. And in architecture, this is my one of my mentors when I was learning architecture in France, Jean Nouvel. This is his most new art, I guess, that, Okay, I'll go to Q&A and yeah, I'll answer these later. I just want to show you a few more videos. I hope you can bear with me one moment.
La base de l'architecture, c'est la base de l'art. Donc il est évident que sur ces rochers-là et dans ces rochers-là, il y a quelque chose d'émotionnel. Il faut que quand on arrive sur le roc, sur la peau du roc, on découvre effectivement ces motifs en face et quand on voit cette lumière sur le rocher en face. Bon, c'est toutes ces émotions-là qui sont effectivement un vocabulaire qui n'est pas utilisé souvent. Je pense que chaque architecture a effectivement une raison profonde. Mais là, donc, on est dans une dimension très métaphysique, très poétique, à une échelle géographique, et dans une conscience d'un paysage ou d'un monde que l'on veut approfondir, que l'on veut rendre encore plus sensible, je dirais. Donc ça, on n'a pas souvent ces conditions-là. C'est sûr que ça crée quelque chose de totalement unique. Je pense que toute construction qui va venir là sans correspondance directe avec le relief, ou avec la matière, viendra troubler quelque chose. Donc ici, il s'agit de troubler, mais d'une autre façon. De troubler par l'émotion. De troubler à partir d'un matériel poétique, philosophique, sensible, qui est déjà là, et qui doit être plus accessible, peut-être après des interventions comme celle-là. De consommer dans la roche comme ça, de consommer dans ces épaisseurs-là, de consommer dans la géographie, de consommer dans un enfouissement. On est évidemment là, a priori pour l'éternité.
So it's called Charan. It's really fascinating how Jean Nouvel marries architecture with poetry, with emotions, with all the necessary ingredients, I guess, to make architecture reveal some impact when you live in it. And this is just the technology side of, how 3D printing now is a technology that is trying to catch up with how artists work, how they express themselves. And it's almost like artists adapt to what technology exists today, but also how how can they inspire the technology to go to the next level, to be able to perform the way we would like to advance our design. So it does not, of course, only go into this kind of art. We live actually in our everyday life. We don't realize, the movies that you watch are actually, they are writers, they are imaging artists, there are visual effects and all these incredible experts that are working together. It's really hard to lead a team to create something. I guess that's the same with engineering, right? Something really, really far beyond one person ability. But when we're able to connect together with our different expertise, that's when the extraordinary things can be built. So of course, our wonderful Charlie Chaplin, most of us probably don't live in his time, but his love to life continues. And with this, I'd like to show you the last video that is always inspiring to me. And whenever I watch it, I either have chills or just truly inspired. Most of you know this, but I guess some of you may not have watched the entire thing. It's only 3 minutes, so.
We meet in an hour of change and challenge, in a decade of hope and fear, in an age of both knowledge and ignorance. The greater our knowledge increases, the greater our ignorance unfolds. No man can fully grasp how far and how fast we have come. But condense, if you will, the 50,000 years of man's recorded history in a time span of but a half a century. Stated in these terms, we know very little about the first 40 years, except at the end of them, advanced man had learned to use the skins of animals to cover them. Then about 10 years ago, under this standard, man emerged from his caves to construct other kinds of shelters. Only 5 years ago, man learned to write and use a cart with wheels. Christianity began less than 2 years ago. The printing press came this year. And then less than 2 months ago, during this whole 50-year span of human history, the steam engine provided a new source of power. Newton explored the meaning of gravity. Last month, electric lights and telephones and automobiles and airplanes became available. Only last week did we develop penicillin and television and nuclear power. This is a breathtaking pace, and such a pace cannot help but create new ills as it dispels old. So it is not surprising that some would have us stay where we are a little longer, to rest, to wait. If this capsule history of our progress teaches us anything, it is that man in his quest for knowledge and progress is determined and cannot be deterred. We shall send to the moon, 240,000 miles away, a giant rocket more than 300 feet tall on an untried mission to an unknown celestial body, and then return it safely to Earth. But why, some say, the moon? Why choose this as our goal? And they may well ask, why climb the highest mountain? Why 35 years ago, fly the Atlantic? We choose to go to the moon. We choose to go to the moon. We choose to go to the moon in this decade and do the other things, not because they are easy, but because they are hard. Because that goal will serve to organize and measure the best of our energies and skills. Because that challenge is one that we're willing to accept, one we are unwilling to postpone. And therefore, as we set sail, we ask God's blessing on the most hazardous and dangerous and greatest adventure on which man has ever embarked.
Okay, if that's not a genius of humankind to unite and create something so inspiring for the rest of our lives, I guess. I don't know what that is. So, okay, with that, I end my slides presentation. And to confirm that, my belief that is art in space is beyond what we all can put in theory. So I will always remember this as well, that no matter how far humans could advance, if we don't stay human, then we're dead inside, basically. So now I will take some questions. With that, I have that trendy monolith found on Mars with the Christmas decoration, just for giving us all a really nice Saturday to connect. And now I will answer your questions.
Thank you, Vera. Yeah, this is amazing. So first, I think there are two questions in the Q&A box. Can you see them? I think one is just a comment.
Right. So I'd like to answer the 8 senses. It's not 8 senses in space, but 8 senses, or actually more, in human design. The sense of self-awareness, the sense of memory, and the sense of connection with others. Like, most of these senses are kind of shut down when we're locked down, and you are experiencing some of this as much as I do. And imagine when we actually travel in space or on Mars, being far away from our peers, our family, our favorite food, our lover, our florist, and our hairdressers. So these are all very important to, I guess, include in our design. Like, I don't know, maybe we have to train our AIs to perform as good as the most dedicated kimono makers in a village in Japan who knows how to custom made stuff. That way, it's not just from standard data. There is no personality. There is no human connection with the technology that we're creating. So I hope I answer your question. So a lot of these are comments, actually. Thank you so much for reaching out. I hope you enjoy my talk, and some of you are giving me some contacts. So yeah, just reach out at the marscitydesign@gmail.com. And if you have other questions, I'm here to answer.
Oh, just curiosity, because you started your organization, Mars City Design. Why Mars? You know, obviously people are doing the moon, so why it was not the Moon City Design? It's Mars. It's what Mars meant to you? Something special?
Yeah. So of course, because it was timing, I was very inspired by what Elon Musk was doing in 2015, but more like intrigued, because I wanted to challenge him. I wanted to challenge the space industry to really understand, are you guys sending humans so that we can all die bored, or are we interested in, collaborating, understanding how art could actually inform, all these new innovations, because at the end of the day, to whom are you creating these wonderful things? If it's for humans, then you have to adapt the design and give extra space for not just safety, but the way we can endure and thrive, not just surviving. So that was actually why I created Mars City Design, so that I was able to contribute in, how in the extreme environment we're not just surviving. So the moon at the time was somehow, I guess it was 2014, 2015. So it wasn't the goal yet at the time. We're not going back to the moon until the new administration, this new past administration challenged us to go back to the moon. In my belief, the moon is not something that is for human to live. I mean, just the environment is not very conducive. And Mars is maybe a station or temporary stops, but Mars is more, a planet that is kind of similar to Earth, and a lot of technologies that we have around the world today, if we unite them together and we understand the master plan for humans to build a colony and thrive, then I believe that we can actually achieve that. Thank you for that question. Brilliant.
Yeah, welcome. Yeah, I think there's one more question or comment in Q&A. Randall.
Can't see that. So I have in chat and in, oh, okay.
It's a Q&A box.
Oh, okay, from Randall. Yes, thank you for your comment. Definitely mind expanding. First, mind blowing, hopefully. Then mind expanding. That's the goal. So, you know, there are questions like I actually was afraid to ask because it may seem very naive, but like, for example, what it is to body build when we live on Mars in 1/3 gravity. What are athletes going to have to adapt in terms of new kinds of environment? When we climb when we hike or climb the Mount Everest here, it may not be as difficult, but it has different challenges when we climb Mount Olympus Mons on Mars, just because of all the conditions that are different. So we had so much fun in using these kind of questions to formulate our challenges every year. So people actually responded with, these are all, as you could see in the early video, these are all like united international teams from multidisciplines. And it's been fascinating just to watch how their project from the beginning evolves to the last concepts. But now we're at the stage where we'd like to build the prototypes in the Earth extreme environment places like the desert, the Antarctica. We have Alaska connection. We also have the desert California connection. So we're starting with that too in the US, and we'll see more in Europe.
Yeah, this is very exciting. Actually, the art and the AIAA has a great connection. Actually, a few years ago, we have some kind of, it's not a formal, it's kind of simple survey asking, our engineers what inspired them, to become rocket engineer or something like that. And of course, you can probably guess, some of the people are saying, oh, it's Star Trek, those kind of art design, Star Trek. And some people say, oh, it's maybe Star Wars or some other art, the things. But it turns out that Star Trek was really the number one for, at least for some those engineers we ask. So it's kind of interesting, some of them said it because the Star Trek or Destination Moon, the Chesley Bonestell, those things, and the prom they become the Apollo rocket scientist, rocket engineer. So the art is really very, very important, for AIAA engineering and the science. It's very important.
Yeah, and it's like how AI works. It has some feedback loop between art, engineering, innovations, and that's why when it works, it really creates an impact and it becomes a culture itself, not just a legend, and it influences the next generations. That's how powerful writing is, right? And the reason why I put the Kennedy speech about the moon is because I have chill every time I watch, and the word was so true, so awakening. And behind those words, of course, is a great president, but there are writers as well who shape the words and make sure it speaks to the world. So
yeah, me too. I also feel thrilled every time, and agree with you about the speech writing. It's very important. It's a very special period of time as well. Hopefully, we can something's going on now.
Yeah.
And the monolith, that last slide you show, that's really cute. Yeah, that's Yeah, that's really cute. Yeah, the model of this. And I just saw the news. They were claiming they saw the model. That somebody in California or someplace they also established a monolith or somewhere.
Yeah, some also put it in their toilet. So it's a really interesting. You know, this is why sometimes the social phenomena is also really entertaining, I guess, if that's the word. But yeah, I guess that's what I could share. Thank you so much for inviting me. To close, I think, so that you guys are encouraged to spend your weekend with some art as like soul food.
Do you mind if I ask you a personal question?
No, not at all.
I've wondered whether you might be having some second thoughts about the mission.
How do you mean?
Rumors about something being dug up on the moon. I never gave these stories much credence, but particularly in view of some of the other things that have happened, I find them difficult to put out of my mind.
Open the pod bay doors, please, Hal. Open the pod bay doors, Hal.
I'm sorry, Dave.
There you go. Thank you.
Yeah, it's fun. Thank you so much. Yeah, stay in touch.
All right, you guys enjoy your weekend, and don't forget art when you're designing something for space.
Of course. Yeah.
Cheers.
Cheers. Cheers. All right. Thank you so much. So we are going to move on to the next.